Hi, and welcome back to the EasyAli Guide channel. I'm Jen Harries, and in this video, we're going to talk about the Lightning Audit, which is a really quick 1-minute accessibility audit. The Lightning Audit is a preliminary audit. It is really great for the beginning of the process, either when you want to qualify a new client or when you have an existing client and you want to qualify them for whether they would or would not be a good choice for selling accessibility to. And of course, it's great when you're just short on time. Why can't we just use automation instead? Well, automation tools are pretty well known now, and they can be tricked quite easily. Automated scores do not correlate well with barriers for real people. There are plenty of sites that get great automated scores and have a really poor performance for real people. The Lightning Audit is composed of 7 tests. The first 3 tests take about 15 to 20 seconds if you're familiar with accessibility testing. Does an accessibility statement exist? Does skip to content link pass its requirements? Is the site free of autoplay or continuous animations? Then we get into the next 4. These take about 40 to 45 seconds. Is there a good focus state? Does the main menu work with the keyboard? Does color contrast look good? Are links and buttons obvious? That's it. That's the whole audit. Now we take a look at the results. We score the websites based on how many tests they passed. So if they pass all 7 tests, we give them a score of 7. If they passed fewer, then we give them a lower score. If they've gotten a score of 6 to 7, the page is pretty good. It will likely be a small remediation effort. If they've scored 4 to 5 points, then the page needs a medium amount of remediation work. If they've scored 2 to 3 points, the page needs a large amount of remediation work, and we should seriously consider whether rebuilding certain sections of the site may be a better choice than trying to remediate them. And finally, the last group of sites, those are the ones that score 0 to 1 point. This means that they need significant remediation work, and it may be a much better idea to simply rebuild the entire thing. The Lightning Audit can also give us some insight on general ballpark of pricing. If you've gotten 6 or 7 points, it's probably going to cost between 0 and 20% of the build cost. If you've gotten 4 to 5 points, it's going to cost between 20 and 40% of the build cost. If you have 2 to 3 points, 40 to 60% of the build cost. And the last group would be more than 60% of the build cost. We'll take a quick example of Wix. The Wix homepage has 0 errors on Wave, and it scores a perfect score of 100 on Google Lighthouse. However, when we run the Lightning Audit, we see it gets only 4 out of 7. Let's take a quick look. First up, we have an accessibility statement. We can see it here in the footer. Accessibility statement exists. Next up, we are going to test the skip to content link. And skip to content link shows up, and it looks like it passes contrast. So that gets a pass. The next is free of autoplay and continuous animations. Well, we definitely got a bit of movement going on here. And here we have animations or autoplay that is running and keeps going. So it does not pass. Current score is 2 out of 3. Next, we are going to test the main menu. Looks like we can get into the main menu. That looks like it's all right. We are going to test the focus state. And here we have a button, and that looks like poor contrast on the focus state, so that won't pass. Next, we're going to look at just the overall color contrast in the default state on the site. It's a lot of movement, but we're just checking for color contrast right now. And overall, the color contrast looks pretty good. Next one is, are the links and buttons within this site obvious? Well, Wasn't really sure whether that was a link or not. These apparently are links and they have no hover state. So we are going to say that the links are not good. What they scored, they had an accessibility statement, they had a skip to content link, they had a keyboard operable main menu, and the color contrast overall looked good for readability. That gives them a score 4 out of 7, which is a lot different than what we got from automated testing, which had 0 errors and a perfect score on Google Lighthouse. So here we can see real people versus automation, and there's a definite difference in those scores. So next time you need to give a really quick evaluation on a website, go ahead and use the lightning audit.